What's up, guys? Welcome to Chasing Pelagics. I'm Jeff, and this is your SoCal fishing forecast for Thursday, May 4th. Quick look at our weather here. We're going to be running into a little bit of rain and a little bit of wind tomorrow, Thursday. And as we move on through the week, things remain sunny, at least it appears to be so. Probably going to see some partial cloud coverage as we have been from the eddy condition that's been going on for the past week. But the sun is appearing to come out for at least for a brief while, although our air temps remain on the cooler side. So we'll see what happens with that. But quick look at our wind forecast here from windy.com. And we're looking here at Thursday. And overall, looks like the remainder of the week has, some decent wind. Although Thursday itself is not looking so great. We're going to have some gusts of 20 knots on the outside. And what that means is going to be also a small craft advisory and then potential for thunderstorms. So Thursday's not really looking like a great day to be on the water. And then we have this little pop-up here Saturday, briefly, into the evening. And then it kind of chills out into Sunday for a bit. And then, Monday appears to be cranking back up. So we'll kind of see how that works out as we get closer to it. So keep your eye on the latest marine forecast. And as I said, we have a small craft advisory, both inner waters and outer waters through Thursday afternoon. A lot of that 15 to 20 knot winds. And then, you get a mixed swell and then wind chop on top. So we'll see what happens with that. And then Sunday, we're going to get some of this nasty stuff again, 3 to 4 feet, 7 seconds. And then offshore, obviously, it's going to be a little bit worse. So keep your eyes on the marine forecast if you're heading out on your own boat. But let's talk some of these charts here. We are looking at the 3-day sea surface temperature chart. The yellow being 60, the orange being 62, and then closer to the red being 64. It is a little blotchy. We've had a lot of cloud cover on here. So unfortunately, not the perfect chart. The 8-day really wasn't that much better, so I'd rather stick with the latest, greatest information that we got, and the 1-day as we're leaving the outer waters off. So I like to kind of go with the 3-day blend for here. I think this is the best choice for what we got. And anyways, as you can tell, we have the Davison current here is working, and like I mentioned, the eddy conditions, although it's cooler onshore, that circular Coriolis effect has helped driving this warm water current up, and it's slowly improving our fishing conditions despite what the sun is doing. And we can look at our dirty water here too. This is not a great chart. Again, the clouds are really starting to affect this chart as well, and it's leaving off a lot of information, particularly in this area. But do you want to pay attention to, we have this nice blue water here that's starting to push its way up, and we have some nice green edges here. So I'll be making a pretty good bet that there's some good fishing going on down here, and we're going to talk about it. But that being said, there's still a little bit of this red tide starting to float around. It changes from day to day. It's kind of streaky. It was really bad up in Newport for a while. Now it looks like it's kind of clearing out. Then it was down here in front of Salt Creek. And like I said, it's streaky and day to day. So thankfully it's not too thick, so it's not really killing stuff off too bad. But just keep an eye on it. We'll see what happens as things get closer and the sun starts coming out more. That'll really dictate on how nasty that red tide gets. But back to the 3-day chart. Let's talk about what's going on at the Channel Islands. We've continued to have pretty decent white sea bass fishing, a little bit of yellows around. There's been squid all around the islands, not really hard to find. It's kind of in the usual places. However, most of the sea bass bites are coming on the white fluke swim baits, if you're not familiar with them. Zoom makes their own. It's the 7-inch, the Mega Supreme, I think, Mega Supreme Pearl White. And then also Redemption Swim Baits makes them as well. This stuff sells out pretty quickly, so if you can get your hands on it and you'll be heading up that way, you're basically fishing a lead head with a white pearl swim bait on it that looks like a squid. And then today the bite was a fluke on a loop. So basically a dropper loop with a hook and a squid. It didn't even need the lead head. So I mean, you present it one way, you can present it another. It all works the same at the end of the day. So, but another way to skin a cat. People ask all the time, like, what is the best way? And it really is just apply what works best for that area. For example, I think the swim bait lead head works really good for Channel Islands. I think the squid, either on a dropper loop or on a lead head, works a lot better for, say, Santa Barbara, Catalina, and San Clemente. And then once you get down into Mexican waters, you may have heard the Mexican way of rigging a mackerel on a crocodile jig. That's another way you can catch them. Or when the shell is on bobbers, that works too. So really just apply to the technique that works best for your area. I mean, or if something isn't working well for you, or you feel like you're missing bites and you're seeing the fish around, then maybe change it up. So it's just a matter of obviously being on the fish because they are opportunistic feeders, but also use what works best for you or what works best for the occasion. So sometimes you just got to experiment a little bit and figure that stuff out. Let's talk about San Nick. No real signs of sea bass out here. A lot of guys been out here rock fishing, and if you like rock fishing, it's been pretty good. This island rarely gets looked at, so it's kind of like a Tanner Bank or Cortez Bank when it comes to islands. It's the furthest one out there, and people don't really bother with it during the summer months, or unless they're really trying to chase something else. But majority, usually when stuff doesn't get looked at, you find some bigger or better grade fish out here, and that's what they're finding when it comes to halibut or a rockfish or things like that. Sounds like the sea bass bite at Santa Barbara has definitely slowed down, much like a lot of the fishing further south over the weekend. Like I said, it's not gonna be hot, 35 days in a row. The moon phase does play a little bit with it, and people have their superstitions with it, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and at least this week it seems to be a little bit on the slower side, but the halibut bite has actually been picking up the pace on that, so really good sized halibut that I've seen come from the area, so not all is bad. When the sea bass don't bite, there is other things to catch, so Catalina, haven't heard much from this island lately. There's been occasional sea bass or occasional yellowtail caught. Just not a lot of volume of fish, and this is a heavily trafficked island, so that's kind of how I expect it to remain to be for even probably the rest of the summer. That always seems to be just the way it is. So, San Clemente Island, man, this island it can be hot, it can be cold, and sometimes just real streaky. But there was like one or two yellowtail caught last week, and then there was no sign for 4 or 5 days. And then I believe Marcus on the Fury, got him pretty good today out there. So, it's just taking a little while to turn things on here. How these water temps come on. I know, like last year this time we had basically boat limits there for yellowtail. But it looks like the groundhog didn't see a shadow, and this thing is running a little bit longer than we'd like to see. But again, this is still really early, all things considered, for historically California, for as good as it's been for the past 5 or 6 years anyway. So, but yeah, look forward to this starting to heat up here. As far as inshore fishing, really not much of anything. It's really been on the quiet side. Whether the green water has anything to do with it, we'll see. But I think it's just too early to see any pelagic fish really push up above north of the border for the most part. Most of the action has been coming down south. And if you saw some of the sport boat activity over the weekend, I can tell you that it was a colossal pileup of marine traffic focused between the 43 and the East Butterfly San Salvador Knoll on the corner, basically a diamond here. It seemed like the entire fleet was there. At the same time, you had Newport to Ensenada sailboat race coming down here, and just a lot of boat traffic in general. And Bluefin always talk about it. They're shy. They don't like to be ran over. And when they do, they scatter and then they don't bite. And that's exactly what happened. The bite turned off day and night for the most part. Some of the guys that I heard about, they came down here to the East Butterfly, kind of found the edge of this break again, and got away from the boat traffic, and they're catching fish, trolling on Mad Max, spreader bars, things like that. So especially if you're in a private boat, try and get away from the chaos of what can be the sport boat fleet sometimes. As much as the sooner they have, it doesn't matter if you're driving over fish, but if they can bite, what's the point? So try and get away from that zone that isn't acting or cooperating correctly, and more often you'll be rewarded. So don't fish for boats, fish for fish. Common saying around here, and it goes with anything. Coronados. No one's really focusing on the Coronados with the offshore bite going on. Most people opt to fish for bluefin, so these islands aren't really getting looked at. And honestly, I haven't heard much about them lately at all. If you want to focus on the Coronados for some yellows, I would focus on the weather side of the North Island first, and then make my way south, and then follow up through the inner waters. Typically, you're going to find the fish on the outside first, and you can target them by trolling macro-colored Rapalas or DTX minnows, any type of diving plug that's in a like 5 to 6 inch range. We sell both of them, so they both work. I've caught fish on both, so there you go. Further south, this is what I think a lot of these people should be focusing on. Right? Hopefully, if they're on a longer trip, that they focus fishing down here further south. Seems to be a better grade of fish here from the lower hidden down south. But again, a lot more miles to run than just the corner. So a lot of these guys on the overnight or day and a half trips are focusing on this area versus traveling an extra 20, 30 miles south and having to work a little bit harder to find these fish. But seem to be better grade down here. I'll tell you the guys from Ensenadas and Maras have been catching quite a few already this week. So that tells me if they can find them on a Ponga in a 30 to 40 mile range, then it shouldn't be too hard to find if you're really going to go down there and look for them. So that's pretty much it for this week, guys. Things, like I said, it's slowed down last week, but I think if you give it into the weekend, you'll probably find they'll kick back up. And I don't have the moon phase in front of me here, but I believe we are heading to a full moon, I think, this weekend, if I remember correctly. So usually heading into the full moon. I think full moon on Friday. Usually full moon is wide open night bite for bluefin. At least it has been for me multiple times. So yeah, if you're away from a crowd and you can find some fish in the dark, that's probably be a pretty good bite. And I expect the daytime activity to slow down on that part. Again, sport boat, daytime activity, and private boat activity. I'll be doing two different things. If you're on a sport boat, I'm casting clear poppers if you can get close to a foamer, you see fish on the surface, or casting like a Daiwa Zakana and like 80 to 130 gram range, something that's still like on the smaller size, but you can cast pretty far. And then you can also work it up and down as a vertical jig too if you want. Now, if you're on a private boat, I'd be trolling Mad Max. I'd be trolling, a flying fish lure from a kite, something where you don't have a lot of boat traffic, where you can target maybe a little bit better grade fish, something like a spreader bar also. So, also, if you're on a sport boat, there's no reason why you can't troll a Mad Back or any other type of trolling lure. And with that, we've added a ton to the store this week from Mag Bay Lures. If you haven't seen the Mad Dogs or the Mag, M-A-G, Mag Dogs, pretty sick lure, very similar to a Mad Mac, except for there's no moving parts. They already come with some super mean treble hooks on them with a proper size split ring, so you don't have to worry about changing anything out. They come ready to rock, and they've been tested up to 20 knots, so 100% legit, and they come in a bag as well for pretty much the same price, and they're about the same size as the 240 millimeter Mag Max, so right in the proper size for these big fish. So that we've had a whole bunch of other stuff too. You can check it out, but we'll be posting up here shortly as I finish adding the rest of the inventory to the store over the next day or so. So that's it for this week, guys. Be safe out in the water. Have a great weekend, and cheers. Hang a couple fish, would you, huh? See you guys. Hey, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and check out our website and online store at chasingpelagics.com. And make sure you share the stoke.